I live in the GTA, and there's some parents like it's crazy. Hockey parents like they want their kids on the ice 6, 7 times a week. And luckily, my son's on this little select team, and Mike Camilleri is the coach. And Cammy's like me. He's pretty laid back, and he's like, if my son wants to play hockey, great, I'll support him. But if he doesn't, then I'm fine with it. Where you've got a lot of parents that are like more, more, more. And Cammy's like, nope, these kids like during the season, we're gonna do 4 times a week. They're gonna play basketball because I want them to be athletes. I want them to be multi-sport.
Good.
There's no screaming at the kids or anything like that. And my son he loves it. Like he's been um, I told him, I said, buddy, you don't have to be a goalie because daddy was. But he's like, no, I want to be. And he's a tall kid for his age, and he's learning like power pushes and stuff. But he has a goalie coach, like the team has a goalie coach. And I've got to know him pretty well.
Wow.
And I put my headphones on and I sit in the corner. That's what my parents did that growing up. They used to sit in the corner of the rink. So I knew they were there. So I always tell them, my wife goes and sits with all the parents and they're yelling and screaming and cheering and stuff. I sit with headphones on and I either listen to music and I just watch. I don't do anything. I let them know. I'm like, buddy, I'm in the corner. I'm up there. And they had a tournament this year. It's kind of funny because their team was decent. So the first game, he was unbelievable. He got player of the game, and I was kind of proud. And he had a game a couple hours later and he got absolutely rinsed and he was so rattled. He gave up like 8 or 9 goals and it was ugly. The team just got dummied and he was so upset. And I remember saying to him, I said, like, they're in the dressing room and there's all these bricks. And I said, look at that line there. And I said, you see that line? And he goes, yeah. And I said, this morning you were above that line. You were up here, buddy. And I said, right now you're below that line. I said, always remember, don't get too high, don't get too low. I said, keep that line. And so the next morning they lost again, like 9-1. And I walked in to see him and he was like pointing to that line. And I go, buddy, it's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you were fine, kids at that age, they want to hit McDonald's on the way home. They want an ice cream. They don't care. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. I want my kid to want to play hockey, not because I'm not going to pressure him one bit.
Well, I'll mention another guy from our generation, Padraig Harrington, who's a major champion on the PGA Tour, who said once upon a time when it came to golf, he said, don't keep your kids out on the golf course to the point where they leave and they hate it. If they're getting tired of it, bring them into the clubhouse and let them have a Coca-Cola. Let them leave with good memories.
Yeah, it's smarter. Like I find nowadays, if you put too much mileage on them. Like I remember talking to a goaltender coach from Sweden, Thomas Magnusson.
The
And
Godfather.
what's that? Yeah, So Thomas, I was at the goalie guild. There was like 120 goalie coaches there, and I've talked to him, and he was saying there was 14 and 15-year-old kids that were having hip surgeries now because since they were 4 and 5 years old, everyone's doing power pushes, everyone's doing wannabe Lundqvist. There's so much mileage on these kids because they're doing it year round, and it's so physical. And I was saying, well, what are you guys going to do about it? But they were almost having like a pitch count that these kids weren't able to do. You can do 20 power pushes a day, but you're not doing 1,000 like everyone's doing, and it's wearing these kids out. And you see nowadays, these kids that get to the NHL at 19 and 20, they've been doing it since they were 6 and 7, 365 days a year, and it's just their bodies like wear down. And so the mileage, it's like a Ferrari, but it's got 300,000 kilometers on it. So, there is, to me, I think moderation. I get it. You still have to work at your craft, but you have to work smart at it. That's kind of been my approach. And I don't know, again, my son, he's 7.
Yeah.
Like I
Yep.
I
Well,
always try and tell people he's 7, like let him be 7.
and we're huge advocates of cross training and making sure that kids get excited for September, get excited for October. Be excited to get back on the ice. Don't get tired of it, right? So I'm glad to hear you're an advocate of that as well.
Oh, 100%. Like no hockey in the summer. He's going to play soccer. He had soccer tonight. We go to Italy for 3 weeks every summer. So like he's going to Italy and he's going to, eat gelato and pasta and pizza with me. We do it like we do it all the time. Like I'm a big Italy guy. I'm a creature of habit, unfortunately. I think that some comes back to my hockey days where it's
Mm-hmm.
like you do the same thing every day. Well, every
Yeah.
summer
Well,
we go to Italy, so it's kind of
you
cool.
goaltenders have always been weird.
We are weirdos, yeah.
Is that a father-son trip?
No, it's a family trip. So when my wife and I first got together, I said, I kind of got these are the things that I want. We do a boys trip every year. So I said that's non-negotiable. You need to stay in touch with your buddies. I said we need a couples trip, and we have a family. We need a family trip. So what's happened here in the last couple of years is the family trip and the couples trip have been morphed together. So now the kids tag along because my wife and I go to Italy every summer. We choose a different spot, and now the kids love it. So now we're going back this year to their favorite spots and then adding in a couple others. So it's for me it's mandatory. I love going and having something to look forward to. We all work so hard in our lives. Like if you've got something to light at the end of the tunnel to look forward to, when you're struggling or you're tired, you go, okay, a month from now I'm going to be sitting on a beach in Italy, having pizza or doing whatever. Like that's the way I look at it.
Hey, more hockey content. It's might be old, it might be new, it might be a full episode, it might be a half episode, but you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?